Drinking. Alright, cunts. Yeah, so today we're gonna be doing a fucking drain gang tier list because I don't fucking know. I've got to get more content, you know. So first thing before we get started, some rules for the tier list, just so everyone knows. First of all, no compilations or like fan-made projects or anything like that. You know, like fucking Blade City or Glue 2 or whatever the fuck. None of that. Two, no singles or EPs. This is just Blade albums. You know. Three, no full Drain Gang albums, so that could be like DNG or Trash Island, for example. None of those, because they don't have Blade on every track, so it's exactly like a full-on Blade project. However, collab albums are allowed because they're just as much Blade projects as they are, say, Echo 2K, Thai Boy, whatever. Blue. Right, so with Glue, this is like his first sort of album, which I believe he released on SoundCloud, and the thing is, it's fucking Blade at its rawest. Like he never really fully went back to the sound. Like, yes, his albums after did kind of carry along the same lines, but they weren't exactly like this. Like, it was a very sort of amateur kind of sound, which is appealing, you know, because it feels like very floaty, and it's like fucking raw cloud rap, you know. This is straight up just fucking cloud rap, you know. And yeah, it's got some great beats, and it's like really fucking memorable and re-listenable, with some of the tracks like the intro with Delete, which is fucking great opener for the album, you know. I stay out of sight, it's a satellite. Then you've also got Safe House, eBay, Everlasting Flame, Upgrade Enabled, you know, great tracks all around. However, like, probably my only complaint is it's a little short, not as short as some of the albums I'll talk about next, but you know, it's like 28 minutes or so, but yeah, it's just generally an absolute vibe, and if I had to fucking describe it, it's like the audio drugs of Blade, you know, like just straight fucking audio drugs. It just feels like you're taking fucking LSD or some shit, but yeah, with all that praise, I gotta fucking put it in S tier, so yeah, classic cloud rap album in general. Ever Since. Right, so the thing is with Ever Since is it feels like Blade actually trying to properly make an album this time around, because with Glue it was kind of amateur and it wasn't really supposed to be an album, you know. It was on the shorter side. It was generally like not as conceptualized, whatever. But then you have Ever Since, which is his 2016 album. It feels like he's actually trying to make a sort of consistent project with general sort of themes going on, and say the lyricism is probably one of the times Blade actually tries to attempt lyricism in some degree rather than just being materialistic or whatever. And yeah, it does have better production than Glue, obviously, since it's Glue is very like raw amateur SoundCloud rap, whatever, while this is kind of going a bit more professional, whatever, with his work. It's more album length, and it's quite varied in its tracks, because he'll have more emotional sort of tracks at times, like Sugar, as weird as that track is, you know, it's neat. But then you'll also have more like hyper sort of beats as well from time to time. Yeah, and honestly I'd also have to say S tier as well. AVP, or Alien vs Predator, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Yeah, this was his first collaboration album. Again, it sort of follows the same sort of good sort of beats, fairly good production from White Armor. It's generally similar in quality to his previous albums. However, it's definitely on the shorter side of his records. It has good tracks, but it doesn't feel as re-listenable as his first two albums. It's not bad per se, but it does have good tracks, mind. It's just not many people talk about it as much. So yeah. It's a good album, but I'm gonna have to say put it in beta. It's not exactly really good, but it's a good album. You can listen to it and enjoy some of the tracks. Just not exactly as good as an album, you know. Working on Dying. Working on Dying was kind of his more branching out the different sounds project, like the first kind of album to do this, because the last couple kind of followed the same sort of sound. Well, this one he actually collaborated with the producer group Working on Dying, which they kind of went for more of a trap-inspired sound. However, it was kind of more unique, you know, which I enjoyed. So it doesn't sound like just a copy of trap artists of the time, you know. It does have good features from artists like Black Cray and Young Lean, of course. Especially on like tracks like Cherry Bracelets, you know, you kind of go like Young Lean having a bit of spotlight on there, for example. It's got some pretty memorable tracks. And then you've also got Best Buy, which kind of just like goes fucking mad. It's a bit mental, you know. However, like AVP, it's kind of a bit too short, like on the shorter side. But it is unique enough to kind of stand a bit higher. So I would have to say A tier for Working on Dying. Red Light. Red Light, funnily enough, was kind of one of the Blade projects I originally hated the most. I feel like it was kind of some of the tracks sound a little bit weird, like most notably Westfield. I kind of didn't like that much. But yeah, over time I kind of like grew to like it quite a lot, and it has quite a lot of tracks on here. It goes back to the album length, which we saw in like ever since, you know, proper 40 minutes or so. And yeah, of course, with a lot of tracks beyond here, it kind of has, you know, a lot more going on for it again. And a lot of good tracks to listen to as well. It does feel kind of similar to the sound we've seen on, say, AVP ever since, for example. And it does have similar production quality, although it is kind of like the last classic style album, you know, kind of marks the end of the era. Yeah, it's some notable tracks on here. I would say 1D, Steve Jobs, Obedient, Puppet Master, and I'm Goofy, probably some of my favorites of the album. Although, like, just about every song is fucking great, you know? Back to back, banger after banger. Yeah. Ice Dancer. Ice Dancer is kind of like, I would say, probably his most iconic album, and it very much so marks a new era in Blade. I feel like it's probably one of his most accessible works to a new listener, as it kind of abandons the sort of raw cloud rap style, and it goes for it feels a lot colder. You know, the atmosphere here, of course, it being called Ice Dancer, you know, you kind of expect that. But it does kind of have a kind of aesthetic going, which, you know, it's very nice. It was released not long after, Red Light. Same year, 2018. Fucking great year for Blade, honestly. With these two great albums coming out, some of his best. Although it does kind of have some weird samples on there as well. Like, I know there's like a fucking boing effect in one of the tracks. But, yeah, I mean, the production is a little weird, although it's kind of enjoyable. Like, some of the tracks kind of just get really goofy at times. Although it's fun to listen to, you know, it kind of feels like Blade going a bit more of just a jokey side. I know there was actually one of the tracks, like the start of it, he just starts fucking talking about MasterCards or some shit, which, yeah. Also, it's probably one of his most re-listenable projects. I found myself listening to it quite a lot for a period of time, especially during the winter. And yeah, generally just deserves its praise, you know, one of his most iconic works in general. So yeah. Whoa. Exeter. Not gonna lie, this is like his first album going into the 2020s, a bit of a gap on like his solo projects. He did have Trash Island, although that's more of like a general Drain Gang project, so this was his next solo project after Ice Dancer, and it's to be honest, it's kind of fucking overrated. It's one of his probably most obnoxious projects. And it is very much so on the shorter side, probably one of his shortest, I would say, but probably his shortest, even, which, honestly, thank God, because some of the tracks can get really obnoxious. The tracks are mostly just arse, and at best, mediocre, you know, it doesn't feel very re-listenable to me either. It has some really odd production and vocal style going on here compared to his last works. Like, I mean, I get it. Blade isn't exactly the best vocalist ever, but like, it feels really odd on here, you know. Although for some reason, I would have to say one of his tracks, Every Moment Special. For some reason, that kind of fucking reminded me of AFX Twin, oddly enough. So. Best part about Exeter, I guess. But yeah, generally, it's not very good. So I'm gonna put that down in E tier. I'm gonna get so many fucking people pissed off. 333. Honestly, I know I just came off of Exeter, but now we're on 333, and yeah, this is even more overrated. I mean, I wouldn't exactly consider it as bad as Exeter, although it feels really fucking dull. Blade gives dull vocal performances. The production, like beats and all that, isn't really that intriguing to begin with. It's like, occasionally at best, you'll again have kind of mediocre tracks, like Keys to the City or Reality Surf, for example, but that's really the best you're gonna get. And besides, even like the fairly like decent tracks I mentioned can get really fucking tiring fast. Like, you'll probably just end up going back to the older Blade projects, if you're me at least. I mean, at least it's not as obnoxious as Exeter. That's the most I can say. So it's not gonna be Exeter tier, so I'm just gonna put that down in D, since it's not exactly the worst project. You can listen to some of the tracks on here and enjoy them maybe, although it's not that good. Good luck. Now, honestly, I don't really view this album as very notable. Like, it's another collab album with like this dude called fucking Mechatalk, or whatever the fuck he's called. And I feel as if of course, the 2020s is kind of like the more experimental era of Blade, although the beats on here are kind of more pop inspired. I feel. Although, like, despite kind of being a bit more creative for Blade, it's not really my thing. Also, the Mechatalk guy, I found his vocals kind of arse, not gonna lie, even compared to fucking Blade. And again, it kind of just suffers from being boring, as well as just being really short. Not very notable project. So yeah. Eater, along with Exeter. Whoa. The Fool. Now, The Fool, it's not exactly like anything too groundbreaking in my opinion. Nothing I'd really go back too much. Although I can kind of respect the sort of loud and EDM-inspired beats. Again, he's trying something new. Every sort of album feels like it's trying a new sort of style of beats at the moment. And on this one, it feels more like hyper and EDM. It keeps you fairly engaged, unlike the last few, which were kind of dull. And it doesn't so much feel obnoxious, unlike the last couple albums. In fact, I feel like the vocal style kind of reverts back to, you know, up to like 2018 era Blade, you know, like 2010s Blade. I don't really return to it, like, at all. But, it does feel kind of like a bit of a breath of fresh air, so I'll give it that. What I say it's like on the level of 333 or a little bit higher, because like I kind of respect them more, but it's like not that interesting. C, fuck it, we'll put it in C. Crest. Now, what? An actual fucking good Blade project from the 2020s? Fucking blasphemy, man. Yeah, this was his collaboration album with Echo 2K, and even though this is a Blade tier list, it feels a lot more like an Echo 2K album. And honestly, it just sounds fucking gay as fuck. Being an Echo 2K album, I'm pretty sure everyone said that, but you know. And to be honest, it's probably one of his most creative works. And generally is very atmospheric with what it's trying to do. Again, it's sort of like banger after banger, and every track feels like it deserves its place in the album. You know, it's generally like quite memorable tracks. And to be fucked, everything just kind of works with the style they're going for. It feels like sort of an evolution on the like style of 333 and Exeter, although, you know, kind of more just good generally. Thing is, I was originally planning to put this in S, although I generally find myself returning to these four albums a lot more. And it is, however, still like a very good project and very experimental. But I know I'm kind of judging this off of Blade standards. I'm supposed to be judging this off of Blade standards, but not gonna lie, E from Echo 2K was better, and as I've said, it feels a lot more like an Echo 2K project with its sound. So yeah, we're just gonna put it in A for that, although it is still a very good project. Spider. This is just, what the fuck was Blade doing? Blade, you just fucking released Crest. What the fuck? It's like really obnoxious and choppy and like just annoying in some of its tracks. Again, the vocals just kind of become arse again. It's possibly his worst album. Like, I don't really see anyone really giving a shit about this album either. And like, I feel as if Blades generally just fell off here. And I quickly want to like comment on this cover. Like, I know Blade covers aren't generally the best, but like, what the fuck is, like, at least the last few, like, these covers, they kind of like try to do something like aesthetic or something, but like, what the fuck is this? It looks like it was painted by AI. What the fuck? F tier. So yeah, that was my Blade tier list. That's it. Thanks for watching, I guess. Give me like thoughts down below. I guess. I mean, like, I'm not looking to get into an argument. Don't fucking try and start an argument or some shit like that. But I don't know. Give me like thoughts or some shit below. In like comments or whatever. Would appreciate that. And yeah. Okay, before I ended the video off, a couple quick side notes. First of all, I asked friends to make the thumbnail for this video as a joke. But I thought, you know, he might as well like promote him, so he asked me to plug his website where he posts a lot of his like music projects, so go check that out. He's pretty cool, makes some good music and shit. Second of all, funnily enough, at the time of making this video, by coincidence, like, some Blade albums were like announced to be coming out with vinyl, so like you got Glue, Working on Dying, Exeter, Riddler, Ever Since, from what I remember. So yeah, just thought I'd point that out. But yeah, besides all that, thanks for watching, and yeah, bye.